going on, guys? This is Slime Boss here, and welcome back to the Fairy Fountain Podcast. I am unfortunately not joined by my co-host, but in his stead, I am joined by the wonderful Derrick Bittner of Good Vibes Gaming. How's it going?
Doing well, doing good. Definitely keeping busy.
Yeah, we have a lot to talk about today, so I'm just gonna cut right to it. To start off, we're obviously talking about the Nintendo Direct, but there's a couple other bits of news that we want to cover first. First of all, Majora's Mask has released on Nintendo Switch Online. Have you got a chance to check it out?
I have not. I need to do it at some point because long ago I attempted Majora's Mask on the N64, not realizing exactly what it was like, and
Yeah.
so I'm in the first 3 days and I'm checking out real quick before I go to class, and the moon's coming down. People are depressed. I don't know what's going on. I'm like, where's a save point? I need a save point so I can just not have to go through the intro again. And
Yeah.
then I just like, well, I can't find one, so I just shut it off and quit. I didn't
Wow.
actually play and beat Majora's Mask until 3D, but everybody says the N64 version is better. At least a lot of the
Yeah.
diehards say it. So at some point, I need to play it.
Yeah, I did buy the 3D version and I got decently far into it, but this was before like I knew very much about The Legend of Zelda because I'm actually a recent Zelda fan. Like,
Oh, okay.
I grew up with like Mario Kart Wii and Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, so I never really got into the Zeldas, and I'm still having a hard time playing Breath of the Wild 4 years later. So, um, and Majora's Mask is pretty much in the same vein as Breath of the Wild, where it's not traditional Zelda. It's very or it's trying to be something different with having Zelda roots. So I was very confused at the time, but I have seen a Let's Play of it, and it's really good. I don't know how much it benefits from being on the Switch, other than maybe the few graphical glitches, which isn't really a benefit. But I heard those have been
Yeah,
improved.
I mean, yeah, they have been slowly improving the N64 emulator, which is good, which is definitely good. All those problems that Ocarina of Time had are now gone, which that's a good thing, and it definitely helped things as we go along. I did not hear about any major problems with Majora's Mask, I'll be honest.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think things are getting better. Seem
It's
to.
just I don't. There's not anything like multiplayer or online with that, so it's just like you can't really utilize NSO to its full potential. But it's there, and I will definitely check it out
Mhm.
when I have a chance to. I'm actually currently playing through Ocarina of Time first, so on
Okay,
NSO. So yeah. Next up, we
very cool.
have Nintendo acquired SRD, which I don't really have much to say about this because I don't really know what I can't remember what SRD did. Um,
I do not remember this at all. SRD. Nintendo
it was
acquires SRD. Hmm.
um
Oh yeah, I mean, I completely missed this. It's apparently a long-running,
yeah,
um,
they've been partners for a
so
while.
long-running development studio, assisted with programming of development of first-party games as far back as the NES versions of Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. Uh, they were entrusted, an Iwata Ask interview revealed that SRD was entrusted with building a test version of a Mario game where the Nintendo mascot could jump higher than his Mario Brothers counterpart, which led to Super Mario Brothers. So they're kind of really important from a history
Yeah,
perspective. As far as what they most recently done, it looks like Game Builder Garage. So
so it's just like
honestly, it's kind of amazing that they didn't own them already,
yeah,
considering that long partnership.
it's like
Huh.
a Sakurai situation where it's like they work so or no a Pokemon situation where they work so
Hmm.
intrinsically aligned with each other. You realize that they're not actually the same company. Because I'm pretty sure Nintendo doesn't own Pokemon or Game Freak in particular. Um,
Right. Yeah.
so it's just like
It's
they're
sort of its own
so
thing. It's just a heavy partnership.
yeah. So this is again uh, surprising that they haven't acquired them at this point or they aren't one and the same. So,
Mm.
but that's yeah, no, that's so weird. I don't know why. I'm like we'd never heard of this company, but they just are just working in the
Everywhere.
yeah. All right. Next,
I learned
Min.
something today, at least.
Yeah, that's for sure. We also have the Min Min Amiibo announced to be in April, released in April, and the Steve Amiibo has been unfortunately indefinitely delayed. We don't know when that's coming, and it hurts me and my soul because I love Steve, and I've been waiting for that amiibo for uh, whatever Minecraft for Wii U came out. So,
I
like,
mean, you
seriously,
gotta admit that's a really complex amiibo. That's I
yeah,
mean, that's almost as much artistry as Mr. Game and Watch. You got to take your
yeah,
time and make sure
true.
it's just right.
It's not like there's toys of Steve already made that looks exactly like the amiibo. Um,
It's a very odd thing, but I assume it's just because amiibo production has slowed down so
yeah.
considerably. But I mean, at least we're getting Min Min. I've mainly stopped my amiibo collection outside of the Smash DLC characters,
Hmm.
um, just because like it's still cool to have some of the figures for some of these characters.
I
So
I- I'm more my collection is more based on character specific. So like I got the Chibi Link or the Toy Link amiibo because it's really cool looking. So I
mm.
don't like collect like every single Smash amiibo or every single Mario amiibo. I just see, oh, that one's pretty cool. Let's see if I can get it for cheap or not $400 for who was it? Marth or Villager or something that was like really expensive for a while.
Oh God, yeah, for a while. The one really expensive one was the misprint of Samus, where she had two busters on each arm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
the early days of Amiibo. You compare Marth's face, which was part of the first lineup, and you could to what we get now, and it's like they're definitely improved the quality of the Amiibo, that's for sure.
yeah, and it's also said we're not getting P2 amiibos either, like with
Yeah,
like Dragon Quest or uh uh Joker.
Byleth. Yeah,
That too, yeah.
Joker in a school outfit, Byleth, female Byleth. The other three Dragon Quest designs, like, come on.
Yeah. It's just
I'm
I want an
especially shocked
Enderman
they
amiibo.
didn't do that for Dragon Quest because Japan loves Dragon Quest 3. Erdrick is one of the heroes.
Yeah.
Do it. People would get it.
The same
But
with Sora too, which Sora's an interesting case because in that final Sakurai Presents they announced every single amiibo except for Sora's, which is
yeah, I don't
like,
know if Sora's
is he
actually
gonna
coming or
appear?
not.
Like, and also at the same time, since Steve is delayed and since we're so far behind Amiibo to DLC, how long do they really want to continue this going? Um,
Hey,
particularly with
yeah.
Smash Amiibo. So it's just like it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know if it's cost effective anymore for them. Like, are people still buying them up? I don't know. The Toys to Life phase are definitely gone at this point.
Did you almost say NFT?
I did almost say NFT because I was thinking that I forgot about what it was actually called when you scan the
NFC.
amiibo. NFC. There's too many similar acronyms.
I mean, never mind. I'm not going to compare Amiibo to
No, no, it's not worth getting into that.
NFTs.
It is not worth getting into that nightmare. Oh God.
Luckily, it is on the downward climb, or there's
It,
not very much interest anymore.
thank God.
All right, moving on from that. Retro Studios updated their Twitter banner to essentially be a tease for Metroid. I don't think it means anything personally. I just think that
No.
you know they're working on Metroid. We all knew that, so
Yep. It's just like maybe it'll be getting close to it. I
yeah.
I doubt it. I don't think it really means anything. They'll show it when they want to. Honestly, if we're doing any kind of E3 ish thing happen, that's likely when it'll be shown off. I could see us this year getting some sort of gameplay reveal for Metroid Prime 4,
I'm
but
still on the camp of
eh,
just a tease, and then next year is when it will have a huge blowout and release. But we're still waiting on that remake or trilogy, one of the two.
yeah, it's also true. Yeah, I mean, makes I feel like we're gonna get something Metroid this year, probably the remake or the trilogy, whichever one ends up true.
Mhm.
Um, but Prime 4 won't happen until next year at the earliest.
Yeah, for sure. It's just that, and it's just so weird because Metroid Prime 3 or Prime 4, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and Breath of the Wild 2 are the three that are like eluding me right now because I honestly slated Xenoblade Chronicles 3 in my predictions to be December, and the fact that it's coming out in September, honestly makes me worry for Breath of the Wild because like, how can you do banger after banger like that, like so close to each other?
Nintendo would do it because they tend not to care. Because I still remember years ago, they released Super Mario 3D World and Link Between Worlds the same day.
True. I don't know.
So
Hmm.
Nintendo doesn't always care about release timing.
Yeah.
So we'll see what ends up happening. But I could Breath of the Wild 2 might happen this year, but I'm just going to come out and say the thing that concerns me is that Pokemon's coming out around November. I don't think
True.
that's the bigger thing is you don't want it to be next to.
The problem with me is just I feel like Pokemon ends up doing its own thing and Nintendo's just like, okay, like they just have to deal with it. So I just
Yeah,
don't know if they would really care to move Breath of the Wild or to move Zelda around Pokemon. I just feel like I don't know if that's a big deal for them. So
I don't know. Because Breath of the Wild 2 is like whenever it comes out, it's gonna be huge. People,
yeah,
it's got such good word of mouth, and if they can continue to impress with their showings of it, it's gonna
yeah,
be massive.
and it.
So
I guess we'll
yeah, I don't
talk
know.
about Splatoon 3 when we get to the direct portion, but I'm worried
Hmm.
about that one too, unfortunately. Um, Next up is unfortunately a sad note: the Wii U and eShop, the Wii U and 3DS eShops are unfortunately coming to a close, and I'm actually almost done purchasing all the games that I want to. So that's fortunate for
I
me, but
Yeah, I still need to get on that. The big ones for me are the Game Boy Advance version of Super Mario Brothers 3,
mhm,
um, which on the Wii U, which included the e-reader levels. I feel like that's an important piece of history to get that you can't really easily emulate, as far as I know. So it's
yeah,
just worth to get that. And then I want to pick up a bunch of the Shin Megami Tensei games on 3DS just because there's so
mhm,
many, and it's definitely the cheapest way to get those. And just sort of take a look at what else is around to kind of catches me. I'm not going to get everything because I don't have that kind of money, but I'm
yeah,
trying to pick out the big ones. And the problem is, even though it's not ending until next year, the ability to use your card with it ends in May. So it's
yeah.
you gotta be you gotta choose quick.
The thing is, like with PlayStation, or when they announced that last year, was it last year or 2 years
Yeah, I
ago?
think so. Last year.
Um, I was honestly like, they're not gonna do it. Like, there's enough community backlash that they won't do it. I don't think Nintendo cares how much community backlash this is getting.
Nope.
They're gonna do it. It's set in stone.
No. Yeah. There's no persuading Nintendo. They decide it's going
Yeah.
to happen, it's going to happen, and good luck.
The
I think
thing
that's why
that
there hasn't been as much of like campaigning against Nintendo to
yeah
reverse it because they can't be dissuaded. And yeah, it's unfortunate, but that's
yeah.
Nintendo for you.
And the thing that pisses me off the most about it is because I think Steve brought this up as well. In the GBG cast, they're not shutting down the servers. That's not what they're doing. They're just turning off purchases and the ability to browse it, I think, as well. Which
Mhm.
and so that means the servers are still up because you can still re-download updates and content and whatever. And so it's just like why it's it's not saving them money. There's so far I don't see any positive benefit for them to do this other than like I guess less
Especially when
maintenance.
yeah, I guess less maintenance or whatever else that they're trying to decide. And people were actively using the Wii U eShop pretty recently because of Metroid Dread
Metroid,
and
yeah.
going back to experience Fusion and Zero missions. So
Oh,
I Nintendo going to Nintendo. Like you can love the company, they make great games. Their decisions rarely make sense.
yeah. And on top of that too, the Switch I'm pretty sure has the same servers or something because we found out a few years ago that 3D World was listed on the Switch eShop, but it was just through like a glitch with the wishlist thing, which is like,
Oh, okay.
how are you able to access it when it's not the same? It's just like it's so confusing, and they don't, they don't have to be clear with us. They can do whatever they want. It's completely within their right. It's just sad, and it It's just like you read too far into the details and you just get more upset. Uh,
Yeah, I've covered Nintendo for long enough that I don't even like. I'll call out their issues, but I'm not surprised by them. I'm not,
yeah,
it's just it is what it is, and Nintendo will not change.
yeah. So I guess I should say what I've been looking at, the Mario versus Donkey Kong games, and the
Ooh,
smaller Kirby experiences, the $7 like DDD's Drum Dash and I forgot what the other one
right.
is. Battle Royale is a
Uh,
$30.
Battle
That's a
Royale,
physical
yeah.
release. That's a physical release, I think.
I'm not sure on
But
that one.
you
Maybe
know what
another
I'm
country, but
saying.
I
The
don't
smaller
think I don't.
Kirby experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The first 3D Kirby game that no one remembers. Kirby's Blowout Blast.
I mean, blowout blast. I mean, it's 3D Kirby, but you don't get any of the powers, and it's just
Yeah.
it's very basic.
All
So
right.
can you count that? Yeah, but not really.
Yeah. No. Next up, we have Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Or not Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Sonic 3 the movie and the Knuckles series have been announced before the movie even comes out, which is surprising to me. Uh, what's your excitement level for Sonic 2 and this announcement?
I mean, it's looking pretty great. We just got the last trailer for it pretty recently. Still looks like a lot of fun. Pulling in a lot of that lore. I don't know. It just seems like a really good time. Like I don't think it's gonna be high art. I don't know if it's gonna be the best video game ever. I think it's gonna be better than Sonic One, but I still like. I don't think we're gonna see critics being like, "This is a fantastic movie." I
Yeah,
this is something more towards fans and kids. And
yeah,
hey, fans and kids are eating it up, and that's what's happening here. And I think they realize that it's going to do well. Sonic 3 being a lock makes sense. Knuckles TV series does catch me off guard.
hmm
I wonder if they'll be able to keep Idris Elba for that, but maybe. But I
My
mean,
prediction with that was like, I wonder if it's gonna tap into Chaotix a little bit because that would be cool. Um,
oh yeah, bring in the Chaotix a bit, or
yeah, what's
who
his name?
knows?
I call him like Buns in the Bee or something, but I know that's not his name.
Oh, Charmy.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Charmy. Yeah,
Charmy, Vector, and SBO.
yeah.
So
That could be
it could
interesting.
bring in those guys, and I mean, they give them an opportunity to bring in Mighty and Ray if they want.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Um, I
I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm the known Sonic hater on Twitter. Um,
Uh,
I often like I'm making jokes. Obviously, like I'm not like I haven't
right.
actually played the majority of the Sonic games, so I can't really say anything. Um, but honestly, I often tease Fidel about it all the time. Because he's like a super Sonic fan. So, um,
Mm.
but I did say that I think the Sonic movies are better than the games, but that's probably not
Oh
true.
wow. I
um,
mean, better than some of the games. I you know, we're building off some of the high points of the series. Like
yeah,
as a kid, having been a kid when it all happened, Knuckles' debut was just cool as hell. you
yeah,
know, Knuckles felt absolutely cool, like a proper rival to Sonic at the time,
yeah,
and the movie seems to be tapping into that, which is nice.
yeah. It's just there
Um,
better be a post-credit scene with Cowboy Knuckles.
they better. I'd love to see that, but there's many references as they're getting out there. I would not be surprised if we get Cowboy Knuckles, just like
Yeah,
just to like fall on him for a moment and be like, and toss it off or something like some
yeah.
sort of dumb joke like that. I could totally see.
But
Um,
my only
I'm
Sonic
definitely of the opinion. Okay.
my only Sonic history is with the worst of the series, unfortunately. Sonic 2, well, Sonic
Oh
2 is
no.
fine. Sonic 2, Dark Chronicles, and '06. Those are the only games I've
Oh
played.
no. Well, no wonder you're not a Sonic fan playing those two games. My God.
Like
So
I'm sure I played a little bit of Sonic Mania or something, but I don't know. I could never get into the series. But no, honestly, these are my favorite video game adaptation movies because Mortal Kombat was fine. It just kind of fell short. Uh, Detective Pikachu is definitely slightly worse than Sonic, but not. It's definitely up there. It's pretty good too, but
yeah,
it's just I wish that they could flesh that out more. But it sounds like they're not. But you know,
yeah, it seems like any future movies kind of got canned. It just didn't do well enough,
hmm
which is unfortunate, but it is what it is.
but no, it seems that Sonic is on a upward trend when it comes to the movies. Let's see how well Frontiers does. If it's actually a good 3D game.
Yeah, I hope it's good. There's potential there, that's for sure. But Sonic Team living up to potential, that's the crapshoot.
Yeah. Well, the news. I think a lot of people, because I got confused. I did a little bit of research on, or I watched a Liam Triforce video on the Sonic games, and he basically
hmm
explained the history of Sonic Team. Sonic Team that we have now isn't the same as Sonic Team back then. So people have to
Right.
remember that there are different teams technically, like new and old rare. So
Yeah, exactly.
all
So
right,
it shifts.
yeah. All right. Next, we have some Nintendo financials came out this month as well. We have, but the biggest news, the piece to take out of this is that the Switch surpassed the Wii in sales, which is just mind-boggling to me. Which I mean, not surprising, but man, like the Wii, you think the Wii sold a whole bunch of systems? Just wow.
I mean, it comes across as a little surprising because the Wii was just such a massive juggernaut at the time.
hmm
Like it was impossible to find a system in store for ages and having to
Yeah.
line up for them in order to get one, and just it was crazy. So being in the middle of that and seeing just how intense it was to try to just get any kind of system for
hmm
that, made it seem so much bigger than anything. So the Switch not only matching that, but surpassing it is a shock.
It's
And it's just a stronger system overall because it's able to appeal to both casual people and the hardcore, which is what we failed to do. Is they didn't capture the hardcore market because most people bought the Wii so they could play Wii Sports, and that's about
yeah.
it.
The Wii, it was they always had to compensate for those like the motion controls. They always had to have some sort of gimmick in and the Switch kind of has that, and it's cool when it does have the gimmick games, but you can also still play it like a traditional console, which is great. Um,
Yeah,
and I think combining both markets also helped as well. The portable and or the handheld and console market, as well as having multiple systems, probably or Switch Lite, OLED, different family members, I guess is the way to put it. And also too,
yeah, because some people
um,
will double dip because of that.
yeah, I did. I have four Switches, but most of them are gifts. But um, uh,
Uh, I mean, it also helps that you only need really one Wii for a family, but
mhm.
because the Switch being partly handheld, if you got kids, those kids are going to fight over the Switch in
Oh
playtime.
yeah,
You're
true.
probably going to need to get more than one Switch so those kids can each play and not fight each other.
Yeah,
So
and
that's a little
also
trickier.
too, I felt the Wii was a uh, definitely more of a gaming phenomenon, and there's like some family members that bought Wii's too, but the Switch is a full-on cultural phenomenon. Like it is everywhere. Like it is, I never
Mhm.
really saw the Wii, on TV until like when it was dying. Like oh, I'm playing Wii Sports, haha, or like I don't know some random comedy
Right.
show or something. But like the Switch is like a lot of animes like they don't have like the Nintendo Switch. They just have like a portable handheld. And this idea of this the or hybrid console is now just like a huge thing that Valve wants to take a look at that. And it's just
Right.
and also I feel like all my friends that weren't into games are talking about the Switch now. back then they would have been like, oh, I had a Wii, but I don't play it. It's just my mom plays Wii Fit sometimes, but now it's just like everyone has a
Mhm.
Switch. We're all playing. I don't know. Just the vibe feels different too.
Yeah, it definitely has this sort of all inclusive and just the sheer ease of being able to play it whenever, wherever
Hmm.
is a great selling point, and it's something that if Nintendo does not continue it, they're fools because it is
Yeah,
just lightning in a bottle, and the shock of it is not worn off. So it's something that need to just they kind of need to maintain from now on
and
because
it
it
and
is
it's
just that good of an idea.
it's hard too because what do you do? The Switch U, the Switch Two, like honestly, for me, I would just continue the same, UI and branding, just upgrade it over time, like an iPhone, I
Mm.
guess you could say. Um, but at the same time, if I assume they're working on whatever the next generation is, and if they just drop the hybrid, it's going to be a problem. So it's kind of, and
Yeah.
if you continue with the hybrid, what does that look like if it's quote unquote next generation? Because Xbox is also next generation, but if you look at the internals, it's essentially just a beefed up Xbox One X. So
Hmm.
it says they market it as a new console, but if you like, the UI is still an Xbox One and stuff like that. So it's just like, what does Nintendo want to do? And if they do something else, we're gonna have a Wii U situation again. So
Yeah, being able to communicate that this is a new system is going to be the big thing for them.
mm,
To say how much it upgrades over the original Switch. So naming is definitely going to be key. I don't think they do a Switch 2. I don't think they call it that. Um, Honestly, I'm always of the idea that I love the idea of Super Switch, but I'm not even sure if that's enough to communicate that it's a new system. I just, as an old school gamer, I
yeah,
appreciate the idea of going from Nintendo to Super Nintendo.
yeah,
So
and that's the other thing too. It's
I
just
know.
like, do you want to continue with the Switch branding and just add more consoles to the family? Because people understand that, oh, the OLED is still a Switch, but it's just slightly better. And at least most people that I talk to understand that, compared to the Wii U, whatever the Wii U was trying to tell us. Um, so I
Yeah.
don't know if they just want to keep adding, like, 4K Switch and then drop the original Switch and just have, three main consoles, or if they do go to the next Switch and if they do say this is the Super Switch, how would they want to market it and say that this is truly next gen? It's really hard to say if they continue with this hybrid route, which they have to.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, next
It's tough. It's a tricky situation.
next up we have Kit and Krista leave Nintendo, which happened in January, but they did start their new podcast, which I've been listening to, called the Kit and Krista Show, I believe. It's just Kit and Krista. And
Yeah, I
it's on
think so.
YouTube and podcast sites, as well as they have a Patreon, which you should definitely support. Which, by the way, you should support GVG's Patreon as well. You should just send everybody but me your money. No, but seriously, support them and GVG. But all in all, just to say that they have started a podcast and it's really good. It's really fun. So
Nice.
just
I
it's
haven't I
just
haven't had a chance to check it out. Just been too busy, but it's cool to see them being able to do their own thing and just,
yeah.
have that little bit of freedom.
Surprisingly, I've been hearing a lot of stuff about, wow, this is nostalgia. I started watching you guys in the Wii era, or the early Wii U era, and I'm like, I always thought it was like Nintendo's half-hearted attempt at trying to be YouTubers. No offense to Kit and Krista, but like
Oh, no, no.
I never watched Nintendo Minute, so I was just like, oh, it's just Nintendo trying to be YouTubers, and trying to have that personal feel. So I just never got into it. But I'm honestly
Hmm.
really loving you know, their own show because it allows them to be more creatively free and talk about Xbox and stuff as well. Not to mention,
Yeah, because people.
it's really fun hearing their office stories as well. Just like, what shenanigans they got into at work, how it felt working at Nintendo. Which so far it sounds like what you
Yeah,
think, what you would imagine working there is like.
yeah, that's probably probably what you'd expect. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you should definitely listen to that. But moving on, and this is the final bit of news before we move on to Pokemon Presents, and that is the fact that I lost it. A Crunchyroll came to Switch, and that's interesting. And I guess
Oh yeah.
I think it's more because I think they're gonna eventually be dropping Funimation, unfortunately, and everything will just
I
move
mean, it
to
makes sense.
Crunchyroll.
I heard everything is being brought under the Crunchyroll label rather than
Yeah,
Funimation. So, makes sense. It works out. Still funny. There's no Netflix on Switch, no Disney Plus, even though Disney Plus had that listed. Switch is very odd when it comes to those streaming services, but hey, you got your anime. There you go.
yeah. I mean, I honestly I did watch one anime on my Switch, but like I don't think I have ever used Netflix or Hulu or anything on a Nintendo console or on any console really. It's cool that it's there, but I always thought it was just like
Mm,
a I don't know, it just felt off, which is weird because Netflix kind of got its start on Wii a little bit, which is the weirdest thing. Um, but
yeah,
um,
I,
it's just always felt weird to me. I'd
I
rather just watch it on my phone or on a smart TV or something.
right. I see. I grew up with the PlayStation 2, where it having a DVD player was a
Oh
massive
yeah,
deal. So I associate a lot of my TV watching with the PlayStation. I'll watch Netflix off of that and Disney Plus or
yeah.
whatever. So
I when
that's
I when I did have DVDs, I did use a PlayStation uh, 3, I think it was. So for that short amount of time when DVDs were a thing.
mm,
Well, anything else to
yep.
say about that?
Not really. I mean, it's another streaming service on the Switch. Good for them. Help out people that want to watch it off their Switch in bed. But yeah,
Yeah.
just neat.
And shout out to I think there's like an animation movement going on right now. Is underpaid work and stuff
Yes, I
like that.
forget what it is, but because of the
I bet you.
consolidation, it's definitely easy to underpay the actors and a lot of the other people that work in that industry. So it's definitely one of the. I think it's more of a unionization thing. Make sure that everybody treated fairly, just
Yeah.
preemptively. So hopefully that works out, and
Yeah.
because I do like me a lot of anime voice actors, so
Yeah.
want them
I
well paid.
yeah. Just gotta quickly shout that out just because we're on the topic. But now let's talk about the Pokemon Presents, which it started off with just a recap of what happened in the past week, and then it started winding down. I'm like, wait, they didn't even announce anything. Nothing new came out of this, and they're like, well, here you go. And then there's a police officer, and we're like, oh, easy, Detective Pikachu 2. Finally, we're gonna hear about it.
Right.
And then it's Gen 9, which is just like, wow, I'm excited. It looks good on a first impression. It looks good, which is very rare for Pokemon. And it's just like it's a new generation already. It's just like,
Hmm.
where did you have time to make this? Like,
Yeah. I it is crazy to think. Now, granted, they weren't the ones. Game Freak weren't the ones to work um on
Brilliant
the
Diamond.
Diamond, yeah, Brilliant
Yeah,
Diamond, Shining Pearl. And by the time this releases, it will have been 3 years since Sword and Shield, and that's typically how long it takes for these gens to be released.
true.
It just feels weird because we also in between we got the Sword and Shield DLC, and we just got Legends, and it just seems like a lot. And we don't know how big Game Freak is or how the teams are all shifted or consist of. It seems like a lot, but what I appreciate is that there's at least a level of communication where the lessons learned from each of these games are being carried over through Game Freak, because we
Yeah, which
got
is good.
the idea of open world with Sword and Shield, and then we got an expanse on that idea to bring in towns and just make it things fully explorable with the DLC, and then Legends made it even bigger, where they just sort of the focus was on running around and being able to just catch Pokemon, however, and just bring more of an adventure feel to all of it. What Violet and Scarlet do, that's a little harder to say.
Hmm.
I did an analysis to try to take a look, and there's very little gameplay wise. We get one
Yeah,
screenshot of combat, and the only thing we can really confirm from that is that it takes place in the overworld. It doesn't shift to another
yeah,
screen. So the question now becomes: do you run into the Pokemon and shift into that just automatically. There's no way to catch them beforehand, or are they going to use Legends rules where you can toss Pokeballs at them whenever? I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for the Legends route, but we'll see.
I think it's best to keep that in ancient context, if that makes any sense. But I think it's pretty simple for them just to have Pokemon wandering the overworld like they did in the DLC and
Wild area.
the wild area. Yeah, they just have Pokemon wandering at any point during the game, and you just switch into a battle when you do that, which it might be a little jarring, but I think it's best to keep that mechanic in an ancient context. So we might be able to see it later down the line with a Legends Black and White or something, but I think it's best that mechanic should be best saved for a world where humans don't really know too much about Pokemon. It's just my take on it, because I didn't really like the Let's Go style either. Because even though it's kind of the same thing, although it's not right in the overworld, you don't have to battle the Pokemon in particular. But then they kind of force you to battle them with the legendary Pokemon, so it's just like, there was no balance to it.
Yeah. I don't think we'd have like the boss fights from Legends in there, but I do think the Pokemon catching mechanics are going to be in there, because it just feels like I have to imagine they knew they were onto something. There had to be some really good word of mouth and just to how Legends played. And of course, then they can't keep everything from Legends. The battles have to be shifted to something else, because obviously the multiplayer and PvP is going to be a massive part of this, and they got to maintain that and maintain that balance. So I don't think we'll see like the stronger agile styles. We won't see the grit won't be there, stuff like that. It's still going to be very much like traditional Pokemon,
for sure.
But the process of catching Pokemon might be a little different, and that's what I'm curious about. As far as the setting, it's gorgeous. Spain is an interesting idea. Did not predict Spain as the next location, and we're on this little European tour between Kalos and Galar, and now we don't have the name for this one, but that.
Yeah.
So
I really wanted to see just. I really love Kalos and Gen 6. It's kind of an unfinished generation. There's a lot of questions and holes in the plot, but part of me always wanted like a Kalos DLC or something to Galar, because the whole 100 Years War, I think it was in real life.
Yeah.
And then the actual war in Pokemon universe. So it's like, oh, that's a cool little nod. But now we have Spain, and we're literally connected to what would be Kalos in the real world. So it's just like, anyway. I have a question for you. What do you think the new mechanic or the new Mega Evolution is going to be? Because we do see a new symbol on the Japanese logo.
You know what? I'm so mad at myself that I completely forgot to take a look at the Scarlet and Violet Japanese logo, because usually that always does show off something. So I'm actually looking up that right now, because I've not actually taken a look at it.
We could just pull an Ash Ketchum from the new anime opening. Yeah. We have all 4 bands on our arms.
Oh, if only. That'd be awesome. So looking at it, it doesn't feel as obvious as the others. It's a little bit more subtle. It just has a sort of sparkle in the middle of it, and that definitely means something. There is some sort of like gem or jewel there, but what that means, I'm not sure. I mean, I couldn't have predicted Mega Evolution or anything like that before anyway, either way. Yeah. But there's I don't know. I don't know what they'll do with this one.
I mean, what would you like?
It kind of would be cool if they I honestly don't know. I don't know where they could really take it from here, because we've had like these extra evolutions, we've had these giant Pokemon, we've had special moves from each of the Pokemon. A lot of these are a little difficult, like giant Pokemon in the context of being able to fight anywhere. doesn't really work
Yeah.
unless they limit it like they did with Sword and Shield. But I don't think Gigantamax or any of that's going to be a thing. Movesets definitely easier to do, so they might try to adapt from that and maybe make them a little bit more unique in that way. That's my best bet because Mega Evolutions I think would also work, but I mean, there's always the idea of, and people have already tossed around, is like fusing Pokemon together,
Oh, that could be
which
cool. Yeah.
I mean,
Although,
that
if they're
also
the
opens
one
up a lot of possibilities.
that happens, but
So
Pokemon Company already complained about there being too many Pokemon to fit in one game. So how are you gonna fit, you know, a regular Pokedex size and combining all of those? You basically exponentially
right,
increase the amount of Pokemon there are in the game.
yeah, that's definitely the tricky part, and I doubt Pokemon fusion will be a thing unless it's very limited, where only this Pokemon and this Pokemon
Yeah.
can fuse or whatever. Um,
I
yeah, it's
I was
I
thinking. Oh, go ahead. You can finish. Yeah.
No,
Sorry.
no, no. It's just like no, that's fine. It's fine because I'm honestly I'm floundering for ideas because a lot of times I just sort of like, let's see what happens. If I don't have a solid idea, it's like, let's see what they come up with. How do they surprise me? But what do you think?
I was this is probably like way out of. This is not even gonna happen ever. But I was thinking maybe like Super Saiyan 2, where it's like
Hmm.
Omega forms or something, where it's like you have
Oh,
your
okay.
Mega Evolution and then you can do it again, but only in specific battles like Gigantamax. So let's say, for example, you can have Mega Evolution is back. They add more Mega Evolution to certain Pokemon, and that's available at any time. But during the gym battles or in dens or the new version of dens or whatever, you have this Omega form, which is basically just Super Saiyan 2 or a better Mega Evolution. That might be really stupid, but I thought it was cool in my head, and it allows them to bring back Mega Evolution, which Mega
Yeah,
Evolution is the only one that isn't fit confined to the context of the generation or the region, or sorry, the region, um, uh, because Z moves are like, okay, well that's kind of intrinsic to the lore of Alola, right? You can't really bring that
yeah,
back. And I don't know how Ash is utilizing it. I haven't seen Journeys in other regions, but that's sort of like kind of their lore. And the same thing with
hmm
Gigantamax. Although I do have a problem with Sword and Shield, where they're like, "Wow, all these Pokemon are becoming Gigantamax at random, and it's just happening everywhere." And we're like, "Where?"
yeah.
And
It's all
Leon's
off
like, "Yeah, I
screen.
dealt with it for you," and I'm just like, But
Thanks.
and with Mega Evolution, it was in Kalos, it was in Alola, it was in Hoenn, it was in Kanto with Let's Go. So it's just like you can bring it back, but how you bring it back is kind of hard to say because I don't know why. But you don't. Although at the same time, we don't need a mechanic. I'd rather just have a new Pokemon game that's open world because Legends Arceus did it just
Yeah.
fine. I guess they had the strong and agile style, but that doesn't really count. I think.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the thing with me as well. Is like I have an open world Pokemon game. I don't need an extra gimmick. Now I say that, but we had Kirby in the Forgotten Land, and I was like, oh, the gimmick
Oh yeah.
is Kirby in 3D, and then we got mouthful mode, and it's like, oh yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
That makes it way more fun. So if Pokemon finds a way to do that, where it's like, no, I'm just happy with what we have, but then here's this other thing. It's like, oh, cool, that makes it just even better.
Yeah.
I think that's the ideal situation.
And to me, everyone is like, "Oh, I haven't really been liking Pokemon games lately," and I think that's kind of Game Freak's thing right now. Is that I feel like Generation 5 was like peak Pokemon, and obviously I really like Generation 6, but you can't say that Generation 5 isn't a good Pokemon game. And so I think they sort
Oh
of
no.
peaked in Generation 5, and then since then they've been slowly starting to experiment and evolve the series, but they've been doing it, you know, over a period of time. And I really think that Scarlet and Violet is going to be the next generation of Pokemon or the next evolution because it's going to be fully open world. This is what we've been wanting probably since X and Y because there's only so much you can do with the franchise, and they pretty much milked it dry. Honestly, I would say Gen 4 because I know you
The
said that Brilliant Diamond was kind of boring. I've never played Gen 4, and I got bored of Brilliant Diamond. So it's just like just the same Pokemon experience, and they've kind of milked it dry. And then
Yeah,
Generation 5 kind of put the it was a period for the series, and so this
right.
next
It was this sort of culmination and
yeah
a lot of really good quality of life improvements that were kind of necessary, and just it really was sort of like the ultimate experience at that point. And then, as you said, experimentation set in to try, how do we keep this idea fresh? And they've been mostly successful to varying degrees, but I think we're seeing them finally land on an idea that
hmm
really works, and people were like, yes, this is what we want.
I,
Because it's been a very long time since I've seen everybody as positive on a Pokemon game as they were
yeah
with Legends. Like,
I
everybody's
think
still recognizing problems, but overall it's like, no, don't care, it's good. So like,
yeah
that's
I
nice.
I think Scarlet and Violet will be our red and blue of the the next step into Pokemon. So which will be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
it feels like it.
And the graphic that remember they're like, oh, we have new models in Sword and Shield. They didn't. This is where we have the new models because
Right.
Metaton is or is it Metaton? Am I saying it wrong?
Magnemite, I think you're thinking of.
Magnemite, yeah. Magnemite is actually metal. What? Like, and
Yeah. You
Lucario
can
is
see
actually furry.
scales on Viper, and
Yeah,
yeah, stuff like that.
this is what
There's
I'm
extra
mostly
little
excited for.
details.
That's what I'm most excited for because it looks like HD Pokemon. Looks like this was built for the Switch, unlike Sword and Shield. And although a
Right.
lot of people criticize the character trainers, they look like children now. I don't know. The other trainers didn't look like
Funny
children to me, but they do now. I mean,
Yeah.
clearly some creepers out there like the previous trainers.
Yeah,
These look like
the
children to
people,
me.
people, they definitely look like children. They're dressed up as school children,
Yeah.
so
So, and I'm what I'm also hoping for as well is more of a reason to buy one version over the other, because so far so good. They have two different outfits depending on which game you buy. Obviously the box
mhm.
legendaries will be different. The you know the Pokemon that you can find will be different, but I'm still holding out hope for more of a reason to have two different versions as well, because that's something they struggled with for a while. Because Black and White did it pretty
Yeah,
well, but other generation, or I think Ruby and Sapphire did it the best. But um, uh,
yeah, having sort of new storylines. They're still
yeah,
mostly the same, but
but I think they
yeah,
probably need to experiment with that with a bit more because that is a cool concept having two different games simultaneously released, but they're just the same game. So
yeah, good stuff.
all right, we talked about that for a while. I think it's about time we actually get to the meat of today. Oh, have you got to play Daybreak? Because apparently that's bigger than I thought.
I
The
mean,
Arceus update.
oh no, I've not. I've not had a chance
Okay.
to touch that one. I know there's a lot to it, but I've not actually tried it now.
They've actually added like more lore to like connecting it back to the future, which is interesting. I guess that kind of
That's
ties in
cool.
with the Arceus event as well, which is cool. Or in
Yeah.
Brilliant Diamond. But I haven't even finished the game.
Mm.
I think it's about time for me to move over to the fourth area, but I haven't actually gone there yet. So I'm a little
Okay.
bit behind.
There's always a lot to do.
Yeah, I mean I barely got Cynthia finished in January because I trucked along through the main campaign of Brilliant Diamond for the majority of the holiday season, and I just stopped at Cynthia because she was literally aggravating me to no end. This is the first time in any
She is
Pokemon
tough.
game that I've actually struggled against uh, any trainer ever. So
Yeah.
I'm scared.
That's why Cynthia is very well known.
I am now immensely more terrified for the final boss, which I won't spoil, in Legends Arceus. So I am terrified.
Oh, that is probably one of the tougher final encounters
Yeah,
I've had, and it's fun, but I had to go in way more prepared than I thought.
yeah. But I remember I was watching Hero Volting, and he's like, "Oh yes, I finally," because it was already a struggle for the normal battle, and then you get into whatever happens afterwards, and it's just like, I have one Pokemon left. So,
Yeah, that's what happened to me.
all right, let's. I mean, some of this stuff we can rapid fire through. So sorry if you have to go. This was a beefy month. So
Yeah, it was.
All right, so to top the direct off, or to start the direct, I should say, we have Fire Emblem Three Hopes, which I was predicting a Fire Emblem game sometime this year, but to get a sequel to Fire Emblem Warriors is insane to me. And I guess it kind of makes sense with Age of Calamity being a thing, but this is still surprising and out of left field.
Did not see this coming, especially since I completely forgot that the original Fire Emblem Warriors launched 2017 on the
Yeah.
Switch. To and mixed reviews, where it played better than the original Hyrule Warriors, but
Oh,
the character
Fire
selection
Emblem
wasn't
Warriors.
great. What's
Oh
that?
wait, I don't know. For some reason, I thought Fire Emblem came out before Hyrule Warriors. For some reason, never mind.
No. Fire Emblem Warriors launched. It was 2017, same year as the Switch, on the Switch, and had a 3DS version for some reason. But
Yeah.
yeah, during that transition year, again, the gameplay was considered better than the original version of Hyrule Warriors, but the character selection was pretty heavily criticized, rightfully so. There's a lot more characters you can pull from than what they did. But I feel like a lot of that is kind of solved with Three Hopes, where you have this more focused design. You can pull from what Three Houses establishes, and potentially, based on what we've seen, maybe give everybody like a um true like piece a happy ending, because there's always somebody gets sacrificed no matter
Mm-hmm.
what in Three Houses by the end. There's no scenario where everybody is happy, and that finally might give us our golden scenario.
What? How do you think it's gonna play out? Is this gonna be just like just the war, or like some maybe
No,
like
from what I've seen, they have a new character in there, and I don't know how much they're going to affect things. Like they have a new character, they're messing with things. We have elements that are definitely shifting up even where we're at now. So I don't know where the break is going to be to how things differ.
because I think
That's definitely the mystery right now.
isn't green haired Violet kind of a spoiler for the original game?
Yeah,
How
a
late does that
bit. And
happen?
I mean, it's not super late, but I think it's around like chapter 8 or 9. So
It,
it's
it based
it
on the trailer, it
later.
looks like you're gonna start with that with the
Yeah, I guess it is possible to start there. I don't know. There's a lot of potential there. We haven't even seen most of the cast yet. But if I had to guess, I'd have to predict most of the Fire Emblem Three Houses cast will be playable in Three Hopes.
oh
It
yeah.
makes sense. And I don't know if they'll keep the customization where you can change up their styles. And since you're the teacher, and you can say, "I want you to play like this," and they have this set of skills. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot they can build off with it with this. And um, Koei Tecmo has been very good lately about theming their Warriors games to the game they're being based off of,
Oh yeah.
where Persona 5 Strikers a lot of times doesn't feel like a Warriors game. It just feels like an action RPG because it matches it so
Yeah.
well. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity feels like, an action based version of Breath of the Wild. Like it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
impressive. So to see what they expand upon for Three Hopes, I think is the most fun about this. And don't have to wait long. It's June, so it's
Yeah.
coming up quick.
Yeah. I'm not a huge Fire Emblem fan. I'm still slow. I mean, I grew up with Pokemon and Mario and Luigi, so I struggled a little bit with Paper Mario's battle system. I finally got it because my first Paper Mario game was Super, so I didn't really have a battle system. And
Right.
so I'm slowly making my way up to the more mature RPGs like Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy, and maybe I'll make my way to Fire Emblem because that's a completely different thing. It's like I don't even know what tactical even
Yeah,
entails.
you haven't touched
So
strategy RPGs yet, and that is a bit of a different beast. Fun,
yeah,
but
yeah.
definitely different.
And I think it's kind of based on some board games too, which I haven't really played a whole lot of either. Like I was a kid
Mhm.
that played Uno and Man Calls, but I didn't play. I didn't have any friends to play D&D, so or any of those types of
Right.
games. So this looks fun. I might check it out, but I feel like I have to play the original first in order for it to mean anything to me. or the original.
That's definitely something I'm going to be paying attention to, is how well they make it accessible to people who've not played Three Houses.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and it just because Age of Calamity, it kind of worked because it was like a new story essentially, something part of the story that we haven't seen before. And with this, it's just we don't really know where is it going to start. How's it going to play out? So this is interesting. And also, what's with Koei Tecmo and picking the tragic games? They always have a tragic ending. Like they're like, dang, I'm really am unsatisfied with this game. I hate Breath of the Wild. Let me change the lore for myself. Like
they got to get their fan fiction in.
they're like, how are we gonna change the story of Breath of the Wild? Egg. They're just like, they look around.
Egg solve everything.
Egg.
Egg. There we go. Perfect.
All right. Next up, we have Advance Wars, which unfortunately got delayed soon after. But I think that happened this month though. But
yeah, it did.
So far, again, another tactical RPG. I didn't grow up with Advance Wars, so do you want to take it away?
I've only played a little bit of it. I'm looking forward to it, but another announcement later on kind of like, well, I can't pick up Advance Wars now because I'm much more interested in this other game. So we'll get to that.
Granted, it's not happening then anymore, so I guess there's that.
No, I mean, it works out for me, but it's still unfortunate for those big Advance Wars fans.
Yeah, it's just like this game can't catch a break. It was supposed to release last year, right? December.
Yeah, and then they delayed it for a bit more polish, and you could definitely see the extra polish it was getting, but the timing just did not work out.
Next up is Mario. Oh wait, no, I think I missed Mario Strikers, but No Man's Sky. There's the one thing to say about this is that it looks like it runs well and it's not a cloud version, which if this can happen, then damn you, Kingdom Hearts. I literally since 2017 I've been praying for two games. This is before Activision had its thing. Kingdom Hearts and Black Ops trilogy. Just give me both of those things. Neither happened still neither happened as far as I'm concerned. But Kingdom Hearts is finally on Switch as a cloud version, and I look at No Man's Sky and I'm like, this looks good, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
Square Enix a lot of times too. They make some really good games and some really dumb decisions, and unfortunately, this is just not the best way to play Kingdom Hearts, which is frustrating because a lot of at least obviously 3 and 2.8 are a lot more difficult to get on the system, but if you can release all the other games and Dream Drop Distance HD onto it just fine, I'm sure it'd sell well, but
that's why
they didn't take the effort.
If they would take enough effort to have a new name for the collection, they might as well have just done re-release the story so far, call it something new, like I don't know, some random magical Disney words, and then and then instead of having HD Dream Drop Distance, or I don't know, maybe Dream Drop Distance can fit on there, they can just have the 3DS version, and then they can still do X or Key, the cutscene, because that's just cutscenes, and they could just have a new package for Switch. But no. And, I understand Kingdom Hearts 3 and 2.8, but they could have just made a new collection for Switch and called it a day, but nope. But No Man's Sky, though, it's just surprising that this looks as good as it does because of the rocky start that it had, so.
Yeah, it definitely... I'm not going to play it, but I'm impressed by it.
Yeah. So now we can talk about Mario Strikers, which I actually predicted this one. I like to take all the credit. They're obviously making it because
I'm impressed.
But I said, I think just to play safe, I said, we're going to see obviously some sort of Mario spinoff, but I just said, all right, let's just say Strikers. And lo and behold, there it is. It is called Battle League, and I'm not a huge fan of Mario spinoffs. I never liked Mario Party or any of the Mario sports games, so it's cool that it's finally back and it looks as gritty as ever. And yeah.
Have you played any Strikers before?
No.
So I'm like you. I do like Mario Party. I do, those. But as far as Mario sports games, they're okay. I played a little bit of tennis. I played a little bit of golf, but they've never really stuck with me. Strikers, I got addicted to. There is
Oh,
something
okay.
just viscerally fun about it because it's the pure arcadiness of it, and
Yeah.
this seems like it's maintaining that idea. Plus, it's Next Level Games who did Luigi's Mansion and all
Hmm.
the previous Strikers games. There's quality here, and this one looks fun. I'm very excited
Yeah.
for this one.
Yeah. I'm excited that it's finally back, and Nintendo said Nintendo allowed them to go all out. I mean, you can kind of see there's a little bit of modern uh Mario stuff going on there, like, but it still looks just as gritty. We just hope
Oh
for
yeah.
Waluigi's crotch chop, and we
I
still
don't know if
haven't
that'll
seen.
be back, but at least we got Mario shoving Luigi into an electric fence. That's
Yeah,
that's all I need.
yeah. I kind of want to hear Daisy say Nintendo again.
Oh god, I'm so looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. It's no high art or anything like that, but it's Mario characters as you wouldn't expect, and just a fun package.
Yep. Next up, we have Splatoon 3, which they just showed off a little bit of the Salmon Run mode. I don't really know too much about Salmon Run. I just literally found out from Chugga's video, to be honest. So all I know that's different is that you're able to throw the eggs. But that's just Salmon Run.
Yeah.
I will say that Splatoon 3 isn't really looking too hot right now. Not because it's going to be a bad game or whatever. It's cool to see it, but like it's the same. It seems like it's just going to be the next Splatoon on the same console. There's no edge to it so far, which is what I'm worried about.
It's iterative so far, and the changes I have seen do generally look good.
Hmm.
It's definitely exciting. I think it's going to be definitely fun. But if people are expecting a revolution from this game, I don't think that's going to be a thing. But I do think it's Splatoon. It's going to be fun. The basis is there. We'll see how they kit things out. There's going to be support for how long. You kind of know what to expect from Splatoon at this point. And I hope the story mode takes a lot more inspiration from Octo Expansion
Hmm.
uh, than the second game, because the second game story mode was fine, but it kind of played out what the original did, and it didn't quite match up. Bosses were good up until the final boss, which it's hard to compare to that final boss, the original Splatoon.
Yeah.
And Salmon Run is fun. Salmon Run is a lot of fun when you have a group of friends and you're going against these really difficult groups of enemies in this horde mode. But you know, of course it's back. It's a
Hmm.
popular mode. There's hopefully make some fixes where it's available at all times and not just certain times. But
And that was
it's not exciting in that way where it's like, yes, it's back and that's all you're gonna see.
yeah.
All right, cool.
That was Splatoon 2's edge over the original because that was like the main new mode, and there's a bunch of other like tweaks that they made. Like apparently they changed how specials work as well, which I recently found out from Chugga's video as well. Um,
Mm,
but
a
they
lot of rebalancing.
because like obviously I'm not expecting anything too groundbreaking, but there has to be some sort of edge because otherwise why wouldn't they just continue with Splatoon 2? Or maybe
Right.
there was meant to be a next generation console to come out this year, and the reason why all these games are still stuck to Switch is because you know it, this is what we're still in the Switch era, which maybe that all these games because we're feeling like it's 2017 too. It feels like a launch of a console, so maybe there was plans to have a launch and COVID delayed that or
It,
something.
yeah, I mean it's possible, but Nintendo has gone for a while saying they're not quite done with
Yeah.
Switch. They still have a ways to go. So I'm not sure if that's necessarily the case, but I do think as we get closer to release, Splatoon will have a bit of a all out. Like I would not be
Hmm.
surprised if we see a Splatoon direct
Yeah.
eventually, where they're going to say, "Here's your new hosts. Here's some more gameplay changes, and bam, here's a test fire, so you
Yeah,
can try it out
honestly,
and
that's what I
do
was
those."
expecting to happen in this direct. I thought they were just going to announce a Splatoon direct for for March or April, but that didn't happen. We got gameplay, so I didn't even expect gameplay. So far we don't have a release date yet either. Just summer,
No.
I think, or just is that
Which, I always think of Splatoon as a summer game, so it works.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention Mario Strikers comes out in June as well, so that's coming up real soon too. Next up is some rapid fire stuff. We got Front Mission 1 and 2, which is surprising to get a remake. I've never heard of this franchise, but it's cool that they want to remaster.
Well, you're not a strategy fan, so it makes sense.
Yeah. And I was like, at first I was like, what is this? Is this Xenoblade X? And then it said it was Front Mission. I'm like, oh, and then it said, and what really caught me off guard that it was Square, I think, that makes this too. And
yes.
And then,
so
this is what they recently acquired Forever Entertainment.
Well, they didn't acquire Forever. They're working with Forever. Forever Entertainment just been. Yeah, they've been. They did Panzer Dragoon, which was, and they said for a while they did House of the Dead, which we finally saw a new trailer for that relatively recently. It looks decent. They're working with Nintendo on something, and then they said they had announced even before Nintendo they were working with Square Enix on something, and we didn't know what it was. Did not expect it to be Front Mission. Great to see that back. I've only played Front Mission 3 on the PlayStation 1, and it's a strategy RPG, but the idea this time is that you're in mechs, and each individual body part can be targeted. So if you take out their legs, they can't move as well. If you take out their arms, they can't shoot as well. You take out or if you just focus on the body, it takes them out outright. So that's where some of the extra strategy comes involved. And these are two games that I don't know if the second game ever came to the States. So
there you go.
The fact that these are yeah, it definitely helps out in that way.
Actually, there's a lot of localization stuff in here, which is just like the tease of the Mother 3 is, I think, coming back. I think a lot of people gave up, and now they're like, is it possible? Can we finally get it? But after hearing what Steve said, it's 50-50 at this point. Or maybe more 25-75.
Yeah, I don't. That game's a tough one, so I don't put much hope in there.
I honestly would. I saw a trailer for like a claymation style version of it. Like if they remade it and like change those characters a bit, which could be varying difficulty. I think that would work better than just porting it. So
yeah, if we're gonna get it, it would have to be as part of a remake. It almost seems, because that way they can make those changes and not have to try to go in and change them another way,
Mm-hmm.
So
next up we have Disney Speedstorm, which
yeah,
Chocobo GP, and now this, and I got upset because we're like, I guess that means no Mario Kart. Well, little did I know.
Yep, it bamboozled you.
Is Amy interested in this, or?
She is. She loves Disney, and when she reacted this to herself, she was all into it. So I think she'll want to check this out. I forget if it might be free to play. I can't remember offhand, but
I can't remember either.
I mean, at least that's smarter than what even if they have it structured exactly like Chocobo GP. At least it's free to play, unlike Chocobo.
Yeah.
So there it has a leg up. It looks pretty, but that was my only real big takeaway from it.
Now, the question arises, where does Sora go? Disney Speedsters or Chocobo GP?
That's a good question. I think I prefer to, I say prefer to see him in Chocobo GP, but Chocobo GP is more likely. I don't think, although if you want to get the video game fans, that would get some sales on that. I don't know. I can see both of those working their own ways.
Wow, that's a more complicated question than I thought.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
well, maybe seriously consider it. Fit better in Mario Kart. No,
if only.
And then this is, I can't remember this one. SW Force Unleashed.
Star Wars Force Unleashed.
Oh, right.
I like the original game. It's great, but it's pretty fun. Yeah, it looks like it's an HD take on the Wii version, which I've never played, but the standard console version was a lot of fun, and it doesn't look like they're doing any kind of major visual upgrades. So if you've never tried it, it's worth checking out. It's a pretty fun action Star Wars, but you know,
Weirdly enough, that's
nothing
one
too.
game that was always in like people's Wii collection. You got Wii Sports, you got New Soup, you got um, Mario Kart, and then you got Force Unleashed for some reason. So like literally all my friends had it for some reason. I never did, but
Oh,
it's cool for those fans.
yeah,
I'm more personally looking forward to Lego Star Wars. So that'll be my Star Wars pick
yeah,
for this year.
and that's a lot of Star Wars.
Yeah. All right. Next up is AC AC, not Animal Crossing.
Oh, the Assassin's Creed collection,
Yes,
SEO
there you go.
collection. It's a collection that we've seen before, just on
Yeah.
Switch this time. Again,
Honestly,
cool, but
none of those games
eh.
were ever appealing to me, but it doesn't look good. They didn't really show off the best the game has in the trailer either. It was
No,
lagging, I'm pretty sure. Did
no,
not sell
they're
me on it.
definitely not the best to play on the Switch. The games are decent. The games are good, but no, not, I don't know if it's worth picking up on the Switch. They're
This
already
is
out, so people can say for themselves. So, but they came and went real quick.
yeah. This is why the 4K like honestly, I could care less about Joy-Con drift. It sounds like they've been subtly fixing that problem, but I think the graphics are what really is going to do the switch in, and that
At some point, it can still look
4K
good, but it's
DLSS.
making third-party games more difficult. I think Nintendo can still take advantage of it, or if it's focused on the Switch, they can take advantage of it. But cross-platform games are definitely starting to. But what's helping Nintendo right now is the fact that so few people are able to get a PS5 and an Xbox Series
Yeah.
X, so it's not as pressing for companies to go to that next gen.
Well, this was a problem all the way back with Breath of the Wild. Like they had bad, like it was the pop in wasn't very good. Like the Lost Woods was apparently pretty laggy as well. I don't think I had to, and it really depended on
I mean,
your
it
Switch
never
because I didn't
bothered
really
me too
have a
much. It
bad.
was
Yeah.
there, but it was so funny. It's one of those things like it's unfortunate, but it doesn't take away from the game.
And Kirby and the Forgotten Land and Pokemon Legends Arceus both have, I don't know what's going on. Enemies far
Drop
away are lagging.
low frame rate distant
Yeah.
enemies,
Yeah.
so it happens.
It for me personally, it never bothered me too much. It's just at all, but it's just because there's a lot of games that I do want to see on the Switch, and I'd rather see the games flourish on Switch rather than have to be compromised. So,
I agreed.
all right, next up is a big one for me, and you and a lot of other people. Chrono Cross Collection or
Oh
remake thing
God,
is coming
yes.
to the Switch. I
Thank
haven't
God.
gotten a chance to play Chrono Trigger yet, but I have watched Chugga's Let's Play on it, so I know what to expect. But I have it downloaded on my computer, so I want to play it, just not having a chance to. But Chrono Cross, I just want to play Chrono Trigger on Switch, but this is the best thing we're gonna get, and it's also 2 games in one if you want to play Radical Dreamers.
Yeah, the fact that Radical Dreamers is in there is incredible. Like it's never been officially translated before. It was only released on the Satellaview. It serves as sort of a bridge between the two games. I'm so looking forward to that. Plus, I just like Chrono Cross in general. It's a good game. I know a lot of people were thrown off by the change in art style from Chrono Trigger to Cross. The characterizations can be a little weaker because there's so many playable characters.
Yeah.
But each of those playable characters have their own sort of mini story that you get to experience because one might be doing well in one dimension, but not so well in the other dimension. So you get them to kind of meet and improve the life of the other one. And that's where sort of the side questing comes in. Interesting battle system, great music. I'm so glad it's finally off the PlayStation, or not having to rely on the PSN in order to play Chrono Cross. If you didn't have it, couldn't get it that way. Having it modern, it's looking really good. I am so excited for this game.
Yeah. I'm excited to check it out for the first time. Next up, we have Kirby Mouthful Mode, when did the demo come out? Did that come out
about
month?
about 2 weeks ago now, actually, somewhere around there. Mouthful
So it
mode
was
is
in
great.
March.
It's
Was it in March?
yeah,
Unfortunately, all right. Then we can't talk about that too much. But the mouthful
right.
mode gave me hope and for this 3D
Oh,
game. And
I am so excited for this. I am so I love me some Kirby, and this is like I the one thing I was like, okay, it's Kirby in 3D.
yeah,
So basically, it's the Star Allies or Planet Robobot or Triple Deluxe just in 3D, and there's your gimmick. But getting mouthful mode in there and having showing the sheer amount of variety they showed of the objects and vehicles that he can take over really does make the gameplay
yeah.
pop. And I'm
And
really looking forward to that.
there's so many little details as well. Like I can't wait to just experiment with each of the mouthful modes.
Hmm.
And I really wish we could talk about the demo. I'm just really excited for this game. I got Mario
Yeah,
Kart to play first, but I'm just excited for it.
yeah, that'll hold us over at least.
Yeah. Next up we have MLB The Show, which is cool, but again it doesn't look too good.
Nope, I'm not a sim sports guy, so yeah.
Yeah. Next up we got Salt in the Wound, otherwise known as Kingdom Hearts Cloud version. Uh, just had to give you a
Yep.
reminder. Well, I guess I should remind you guys then instead. There's an event happening in April, so look at that. Don't look at this cloud version.
Yeah.
There is still
Makes
light
much more
in
sense.
the darkness.
Yeah, they are. Perfect.
Next up, we got two of the best collections in this direct. We got Klonoa and the Portal collections, which I popped off for both of those things. So
Yeah.
we've
I
been waiting so long for that trademark to happen, and here it is. And holy shit, I finally get to
uh
experience Klonoa.
are
And
you so you've never experienced Klonoa before? Oh
no,
man,
this
you're in
is
for a
why I
treat.
was waiting for it. I was listening to your show, and you're like, you guys always talk saying how good it is, and that bringing it back is going to be
I,
amazing, and I'm here for it.
I
So
mean, I just got lucky because I saw a lot of magazines at the time uh saying how great Klonoa 2 was, and I just got a PlayStation 2 and was getting close to my birthday, so I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, I want to try that out. That looks pretty fun, and I picked it up, and it was immediately just so much fun. It's a great platformer, great little puzzles that they use with the mechanics in there. Fun little story. It's just great, and to see it
yeah,
finally off the PlayStation 2 is a
yeah.
massive deal. So
They
I
kind of
am
teased us a
all
little
about these
bit too,
games.
because a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's just a remake of Klonoa 1," and then they're just like, "Oh yeah, Klonoa 2 is here as well," and they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And then that's when people got really excited.
Mm.
So I don't. Did we have a release date for this? I can't remember.
I think we do, but I can't remember it off the top of my head. But
Okay.
I think it's summer.
Yep, I'm really
I want to
excited
say
for this.
July.
Unfortunately, I have played Portal games, but I'm still excited to play it portably. Portably. Um, but it
Portal
leaves.
ability.
Yeah. I think I don't know why they made this because of the Steam Deck, but or
Might as well
so
get it to as many sales as possible.
yeah.
So
But
not, I mean,
I'm glad they're
Steam
finally
Deck is a
doing
bit more
something.
expensive than the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
that makes
I don't
sense.
really care for Orange Box too much, but I do want to see maybe like a Half Life collection or something. I'm pretty sure, is there like
No,
a
that'd be
2D
cool.
version of Alex, like a non VR version of Alex?
I I don't know that. No, there is not. There you can only
Okay,
experience Halo, the Half-Life Alex through VR.
Halo.
So
But yeah, no. I don't know. Does this mean that we're finally gonna see Portal 3? Hope
I doubt
maybe.
it. I think it's just a port.
But it is exciting. But it's kind of interesting why they would do that. But I'm here for it. I'm glad Portal's back in the
Yeah.
spotlight. So um, we also got Live Alive, which is another
This is one I did was
localization.
caught off guard by. I remember
Hmm.
hearing the title, but not knowing much about it. And then I started doing research, and I'm like, oh, this game is really cool.
Yeah, I'm interested.
It's basically proto Chrono Trigger,
So
and
I looked at the art style.
he
I'm like, oh my god, they're actually doing it. It's gonna be Chrono Trigger in the 2D HD style, and then it was Live Alive, which
mm,
I guess it's good as its own right, but I got teased a little bit there.
Yeah, I can see that, but I think it's almost more exciting to finally to get a localization of the game we didn't get before, and to have it in HD 2D, to have it have voice acting, to go all out like this, and the game just looking fantastic. I'm really excited for this one.
Yep. I think I've only heard of it through not Gilbasunner, Silva Gunner, the other guy. He posts rips of songs from that. I think it's just is it considered an inside joke? Like a
kind of
like Granddad, like it's sort of like a joke that they have, and I don't know where it comes from, but that's the first time I've heard of it. Which is maybe not the best way to hear about it, but I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And it has hearing that it has like a time travel mechanic too, right? So.
Yeah, a bit time travel. Like you go to different ages, and each story I think has their own sort of mini arc that
So it's
kind of
almost like
coalesces
Gaia.
at the end. A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's been a while since I've done my research on it, but yeah, I think that's is the basic idea. Is like these characters don't meet up. It's just that they have their own stories that kind of tie into each other.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm excited for that. It's cool to finally more localizations and more collections on Switch are like the best thing you can do.
I am totally down for it. Just getting those old games to modern systems. That's the dream.
Yep. All right. Next up, we have Switch Sports, and I guess we should probably rapid fire some of these, unfortunately, because I think you said you are available until.
I only have about 20 minutes left.
Yeah. 12. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should be able to. Let me go through the other stuff first then. Taiko Rhythm Festival. Well, there's Megalovania in it, but where's Rhythm Heaven?
Yeah.
Metroid Dread update. It's cool that we get it. I honestly thought we might get DLC for it, but this is cool either way, and it's a lot of content. You have hard Dread mode, easy mode, which I'm probably gonna switch to because I still can't beat Kraid.
I do want to try at some point to take on Dread mode and see if I can survive.
And Boss Rush, which I'm not even gonna try. Imagine
boss rushes are cool, but oh god, I mean, boss rushes don't do much for me. It's as far as like it's cool that you get to take them all in a row, but unless there's a good reward, I don't typically do it. It's just like that's neat.
Next up, we got updates on Triangle Strategy and Cuphead, just confirming, hey, DLC is also coming to Switch, which, by the way, I recently watched the show. It's great. I kind of wish it had more of an arc to it, but I think it's kind of cool that they're trying to recapture like old Mickey Mouse cartoons, which is cool as well. And cool in its own right, I guess. But I kind of wish it followed some sort of story arc. That's just my personal belief on it, but it's a good show, and I'm excited for the DLC. As for Triangle Strategy, it was just a quick update saying the game's coming. I think it's out now.
It's out and got some good reviews, so
yeah. We'll hear about that
look at some point, but yeah.
Next up, we got Zombie Army 4 Dead War. I don't even remember this.
I got nothing.
We also got Getsu Fumaden Undying Moon. I don't know what this is either.
Oh, yeah. This is basically that whole trailer highlight section where it's just like, here's this game, here's this game, here's this game. They're not going to really go over every single one. It's just like, here's a rapid fire. And there's some neat ones in there, but nothing.
I'm actually interested in the Demon Slayer game. That one should.
Oh, I've not watched Demon Slayer, but I've heard good things.
There's some controversy going on Twitter right now about Nezuko, but
no, I don't know. I don't know any context to that.
Yeah. Lego Brawls, which is I guess Lego Smash Brothers.
Yeah, and that was originally on the Apple iPhone launch. The what was it called? The Apple Arcade. Yeah, it was originally a launch for that. So time to port.
Yep. Next up is 2 Point Campus, which is cool, I think. I
Yeah,
heard good things
I've
about
never
this one.
tried those, but mhm.
And next we have Earthbound and Earthbound Becoming coming to Switch Online, which, yes, finally. I don't know why they took so
Yeah.
long. But I'm excited to finally check out these
Glad they did
games.
it.
I was originally going to emulate and play on stream Earthbound Beginnings, and I'm just like, I'm gonna wait. Hopefully it'll come to Switch eventually,
Mm.
but I don't. It was
I mean,
Beginnings was one of those
you
games where it was just kind of up in the air because it's basically a Wii U game in terms of like the West, even though it's labeled Virtual
yeah,
Console, it never came to NES. So
it's yeah, it was fully translated, but by that time the NES was kind of done, so that's that
yeah.
they just used that old translation. The thing is, you might still want to try um you might still want to try emulation instead, just because uh the amount of grinding necessary and the amount
Oh,
of the encounter rate is really high in that game from everything I hear.
okay.
And there is a version that kind of balances that out. So give it a try
Is it
on the
the
Switch.
the
But if you're finding
remake
yourself
version?
overwhelmed, then the
Okay.
remake, I don't know. I don't fully know. I've just been informed that
I,
a rebalanced version exists.
okay.
So
Maybe I'll probably check that out. I just remember them. I think it was, what is his name? King K. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he did a review
yeah.
on the remake version, which was essentially taking that game and putting it on in or SNES graphics. So I don't really remember. But
Yeah.
next, and now we can get to the two final big ones. Switch
Uh,
Sports. What? This is completely not like, I'm
just out of
surprised by
nowhere.
this. I'm so excited to finally play it. They also announced a
Mm,
playtest, which unfortunately I missed, um, which I believe was
I
in
didn't take
March.
part in. I just didn't have the time, and I didn't wasn't able to make the time because they did a weird thing. It was like, hey, play this, but don't tell anybody about it. Why? It
What do
makes
you
no
mean?
sense.
Don't tell
Once you want
anybody.
good,
Everyone has access to it.
exactly. That's what didn't make any sense to me. But
Yeah,
and everything I heard from people just giving general impressions is it's good. So
yeah.
why why would you not want people talking about it?
hmm I don't know.
I
It's
don't I
weird.
don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm certainly excited that this is a day one purchase for me. I'm just I don't know why they decided to go with Ninjala characters, and so like the Mii's are in it, I know,
It
but
is a very yeah. It's still a very odd look, but I don't know. Maybe they're going. I I don't know. Maybe the Mii's didn't fit for the type of action they wanted to go, so they needed to give him a new body or something. I
yeah.
don't know.
And
It's weird.
a lot of the classic sports are back. Sounds like we're going to be getting some more post launch on top of golf. Um, and
Hmm.
I think challenge mode is back as well, which I can't remember if that was in club or not. So um, definitely really excited because I've only played Wii Sports. I've never played Resort. I feel like I'm missing out on something
Oh,
there.
okay.
So yeah,
I see. I've only played the original Wii Sports and never Resort. So.
yeah. Oh no, no, that's what I'm saying. I've never played Resort. I've only
Oh,
played the
oh, I see.
originals. Yeah. So and I wanted to play Club because it was just HD Wii Sports, but then the whole that was weird. I don't. You have to buy tickets or something. Like I don't understand how that works.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand it.
Because that's why I was like I was gonna buy it because of this eShop closing, but I didn't understand how to. So
Yeah, it's like it's all right.
now
But yeah,
the Mario
I'm
Kart.
definitely
Oh,
interested
go
in
ahead.
this one. I like the multiplayer. I like sort of the um, elimination style bowling with against a lot of
Oh
people.
yeah,
There's some fun stuff in there. I definitely want to check it out as it gets closer. So
Wii Bowling Battle
nice,
Royale.
fun, surprising release. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up is the Mario Kart 8 Booster Course Pass, which holy crap! Finally, I honestly don't care for. I know everyone was like, "Oh wait, but Mario Kart 9," but this is just as good, I think. And
Yeah,
there's a slight potential
that's
for
a lot of
character updates as
courses.
well. Yes, and we're finally getting tour courses in a mainline game, which I know people say tour is a mainline game. I will go to my grave. with saying Tor is not a mainline game until they release. I don't know until
Mario Kart. Next game is actually Mario Kart 10.
or they also add arcade courses to this pack, which is not going to happen. But
No,
if
no.
if arcade courses come,
they are
that's
definitely just pulling from the Tor courses, and just it's just evident that every course that's going to be part of this pack is from Tor. But Tor has a really good lineup of courses, and the ability to play them on with actual Mario Kart controls, in HD on the Switch. Yeah, that's worth its value. That's great, especially since since we have the expansion pass, we don't need to buy it. We already have it.
Mm-hmm. For those of us who bought it, but I think waiting on this might have been an issue because everyone complaining about an expansion pass, but I think this is definitely worth the price now. Few months into it, but before, not so much.
It's another 2 years of content, and
for essentially
48 courses. Well, that's huge.
If you think about it, if it's 2 years worth of content, that's about $100 if you want it for free versus a stagnant 25. True. So I don't know.
Maybe but that's if you. You can. It gives you also access to the N64 and the Sega Genesis, so that's where it kind of comes in, and you kind of balance it out. But I can totally see, like, if you're only getting it for the expansion pass, getting the expansion pass only for the DLC, just buy the DLC. That's more effective.
But what is cool too is that the starting lineup is amazing as well. We're gonna probably be able to check that out later today or early tomorrow. And this is an exciting time to be a Mario Kart fan. I don't know why people are complaining. This is more Mario Kart. I don't care.
Yeah, that's all I care about is this fact that we got some new courses to play on. That I haven't played Mario Kart in a while because I've played those courses to death. So let's get some new courses in there.
That's why I was a little tired of Mario Kart 8, just because we've been playing those for 7-8 years now. And I was tired of the courses when Deluxe came out. I was tired of those courses.
Exactly. So I bought it, but I was like, it's not an obligation, really.
Now I'm really.
I've never been too huge into battle mode.
Yeah, me neither. But anyway, the final one, which we're doing on like 1 minute, even though it's the biggest topic for you, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which honestly to me was kind of expected after hearing was it Melia's voice actor saying, "Where's the game?
Yeah.
Why hasn't it been announced yet?" I was like, okay, it's happening sometime.
There was enough smoke out there that you knew it was coming. It was only a matter of time to finally see it, but finally seeing it in action, seeing the art styles, seeing how they're combining the two, seeing the mystery, seeing the new cast. There's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to still see from it. We have, again, not seen any of the battle system. We don't know what happened to a lot of the other characters. But the fact that it's a merged world, the fact that they're combining these elements is really cool. And the fact that it's coming in September is insane. Like, Monolith Soft is driven.
I'm slowly getting into, and not to mention they helped out with Arceus, it sounds like, and they're helping with Breath of the Wild too.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what are they? I don't know what's going on.
But,
and I know that it's going to be
workhorses.
Regardless. So, I'm slowly getting into the first Xenoblade. I'm having a hard time adjusting to the battle system because originally I thought it was going to be like Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you can hack and slash with one button, but you have the League of Legends style charging, like we're special abilities or something, but it's the charging the whole time. Like there's no constant button swing action. I don't know what that's called. That's the only thing that's slowly turning
it's not actually, but everything's auto battle except for your special abilities. But being able to move and not have to worry about everything else, I think that works out. I think it's a bit of an adjustment, but I think it works. I don't know if there's no blades. Well, there's blades, but there's no blade combat in the traditional sense as of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So we'll have to see what kind of method they take. I honestly don't know. It'd be kind of cool if they just kind of adapted the Torna battle system, because everybody really enjoyed that battle system. So
Yeah, so it kind of
we'll
sounds
see what
like
ends
there
up
might be a
happening.
combination of Torna and one, just because I think when you explore the overworld, there's like the blue orbs, which I think from
Hmm.
the trailer that we saw, it looks like it might go back to the collection system of one, so it might just be a combination of Torna and one, which could be cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it'd be interesting to see what elements they pull from each game. I
Especially
think
right
that's the
after
fun
the
of it,
remake
especially
as
if you play
well, because they
both.
could be taking a lot of elements from one.
Oh
Um,
yeah, it was having the releasing the remake on Switch was a very smart idea to get people caught up, and we'll see have to see how that whole um, uh, future connected fortune ties into it. It's mostly Melia epilogue, but I think it still gives us an idea. So there's that.
and that about does it for the Nintendo Direct. There's so much to talk about. That's what we could barely fit it in.
That is, I know it was a good direct. If
Yeah,
you're into like RPGs and platformers and just old games, like man, it was a good
yeah.
time.
For me, 10 out of 10 Direct, like easy 10 out of 10. And
One of the
I am
best in a
just,
while for me as well.
before we were like, oh yeah, this is already going to be a great year. We just want to see what Nintendo has to offer. They starting the year with a huge bang on top of what we already knew about it, and seemingly there's still more that we don't know about. So this year is
Yeah,
going to be amazing,
there's
and I'm so glad that you were able to join me for this episode. Um, I hope you enjoyed yourself. I'm sorry we kind of ran
oh I
close
did.
on time, but and had some technical issues,
Uh,
but
it, it happens. I'm apologize the fact that the timing of Mario Kart 8 kind of disrupted
yeah.
us from meeting up properly, but
How are
glad
you
we were
able
able to
to
still
play
fit
that?
it in.
Do we need you need a Japanese account in order to do that?
No,
Or
it's going to be available for everybody. So
oh really?
this is probably a little late for everybody on the podcast, depending on
Oh
when this
yeah.
goes up. But you can preload it right now, and you have it ready to go. And Australia has announced the exact time, which is basically I think 10 a.m. for them, which basically translates to 7 p.m. Eastern
Hmm.
today,
So 4 p.m.
or
for
4
us,
p.m.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's when we initially planned to do this
Yeah.
recording with each other.
Yeah.
And so we had to like push it up a little bit, which is unfortunately why we lost your
Yeah.
partner, your co-host.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just one of the things like you gotta cover Mario Kart. You
Yeah.
gotta.
Well, maybe we'll bring you back on in the future if we can, but schedules
Yeah.
are going to be schedules, unfortunately. Um,
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
and especially because we're gonna have games to play, which is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm not sure. Um,
That's I'd say mostly a good thing.
yeah. All right. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me. I know it was kind of crazy, but we got through it, and
Mhm.
I personally had a lot of fun. I hope you did as well. Um,
I did.
again, always huge shout out to actually Derrick, his One Piece podcast, which I forgot about that.
Oh, thank
Actually,
you.
go ahead and plug everything.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I guess we'll start with the One Piece podcast. I have a personal channel and a personal Patreon just for fun. That's where I put up most of my VODs from when I stream over at twitch.tv/bitnerd games. That's the same title for my personal channel, which is where I also upload my One Piece podcast, where I'm joined by a wonderful guy named Brandon Bovia, who's actually a letterer at Shonen Jump, and we just read 5 chapters of the One Piece manga each week and give our thoughts on those chapters and see what works, see what doesn't, see how it just sort of just impresses us as we go along.
Hmm.
Otherwise, though, I am mainly on Good Vibes Gaming over on YouTube, where just run the gamut of coverage. I am currently working on a massive video covering basically a retrospective of the entire Shin Megami Tensei series in
Ooh,
excitement
that's gonna
over
be
Soul Hackers 2 getting announced.
yeah.
As of right now, and the work I've done, it's going to be over 2 hours long. So it's a beefy boy. It's a beefy boy. It's going to take me a bit, but hopefully it'll be out sooner than later. But it's going to take a lot of work. So that's my big project right now.
That seems to be the trend with you. It's just like you have the 2 hour long videos, and John has the quick funny video or like fun video, like it's got the Waz style, but yours is always informative and interesting. Like I watched
Yeah,
it.
I don't find myself that funny, so I try to go for the informative route.
Yeah, I mean I really enjoyed the Metroid movie mock-up thing. That was fun. I listened to that like it was like a radio. What do they call those now? Like just stories that
Radio
you listen
play.
to, not like a podcast, but like.
Yeah,
But I just listened to that on a
yeah.
road
The
trip, and I
old
was like,
radio plays. Yeah.
this was amazing. So, but yeah, support him. Give him all your attention because he's gotten mine for who knows how long. And I'm just happy to finally be able to talk to you and hang out. And this has been fun, but I don't want to keep you too long. Thank you for joining again.
Of course.
And now we've got that's not true. I say we did have the whole crew, and then John joined, and I'm not really sure if we're gonna be able to have him on because him and his time zone. So
yeah, it's a little easier. He's only 4 hours ahead of me now because of the time shift.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's scheduling with John is definitely a little tricky. It's why he's not always on GVG Cast because it's so late for him.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And no offense to the other guys, I love them just as much, but I think you were the one that I was most excited to get on. So I'm
thank
happy
you
that
so
you're
much.
here. Yeah, you're.
I appreciate that.
I think the Pokemon, our common interest in Pokemon, is what got us here. Like X and Y, back in the X and Y days. So.
Oh yeah, that's when me getting back into Pokemon in college actually served a purpose. Like probably the best thing I ever learned in college. Just getting back into Pokemon.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for joining me, and yeah, that's gonna do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Hylian here, and I am so sorry I could not make it on the episode. I hope it went well, and I just wanted to hop on and talk about the Nintendo Direct. So overall, I think that was one of my favorite Directs of all time, purely because of the amount of first-party announcements, how fast the Direct was. There really wasn't a lot of filler, and overall, it was just made 2022 very exciting for Nintendo, as most of us expected. Starting off, Fire Emblem Three Hopes, I admit I would rather have a successor or a remaster to Three Houses, not remaster, remake of an older Fire Emblem game. But I think a Warriors title makes sense. Fire Emblem, as they've done before, is a really good series to put into the Dynasty Warriors kind of gameplay. I'm honestly really shocked it's coming out so soon in comparison to Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, which came out barely a year ago. So I think that was a shock just for the quick turnaround. It's coming out in June, which is exciting. Mario Strikers is also coming out in June, a couple weeks before. I honestly didn't think Next Level Games would have a new title out so soon. It's been a little over 3 years, no, 2 years, since Luigi's Mansion 3 came out. They usually have a dev cycle for about 3 years, but I'm super happy it's Strikers. I kind of assumed it would have been. I just didn't expect to see it until later this year, like towards the holiday or 2023, just to align with their production. But I'm assuming Mario Strikers doesn't take as long to make, so super excited about that. Splatoon 3, we really didn't see a whole lot. We saw some Salmon Run stuff. Not a lot to say. There's a few new enemies. You can throw eggs. Really excited to see that, and all the 2 bosses are back as well. Hopefully there's another big new mode that they just haven't shown us yet. It is coming out during the summer. If I had to bet, I would probably say late July, early August. I'm assuming it's going to be July, though. Makes sense. Alright, what's next? They showed a bunch of remasters and stuff. Chrono Cross, Klonoa, and Portal are getting collections. Super exciting. I'm so happy to see Valve putting some of their games on Switch, and starting with Portal is a fantastic choice. What else? Kirby got a new trailer. It is coming out in a matter of days. If not, it's already out by the time this recording comes out. Super excited. I cannot wait to play this game next week. I'm not a big Kirby guy, so getting excited for Kirby is super exciting. I can't wait to play it. There's not really much to say. Mouthful mode looks super interesting. I hope it's very varied. I know the demo came out a while ago, has a bunch of new stuff. But yeah, not much to say about that. Switch Sports. There was rumors going around since I think December or January that there was going to be a casual title coming out that would not appeal to many fans. I don't think that's completely true. I know at least I was expecting a 1-2 Switch sequel, as a lot of people were going into this direct. So seeing Wii Sports coming back, I think is very smart, and I'm going to buy it just for the fact it's going to have elimination bowling. That looks super exciting. I tried it on the playtest they also had back in February. Played very well. I think this is going to sell extremely well, especially the casuals, just like it did back on Wii. What else? There's a hard mode update for Metroid Dread, as long as a easy mode, which I think makes a lot of sense. Give Metroid Dread a little more life. And there's going to be a boss rush coming, I want to say April. It's either April or sometime during the spring, so very welcome that. I'm going to absolutely hop back on and refight some of these bosses. Finally, I don't know why it took so long, but Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings have already come to NSO. I don't entirely get why they have to make such a big deal about Earthbound, given it's been on the Wii U, on the 3DS, I believe. It's exciting, but we have played these before. Well, you have had the opportunity to play these numerous times. Come on, give us Mother 3 already. I don't really see what's holding it. And I think the biggest two things are seeing Mario Kart 8 get 48 more tracks in DLC. I'm actually recording this on the day the DLC comes out, so I am super excited to hop on and play it. 48 tracks for $25. It's doubling the size of the game. I know we had rumors for Mario Kart 9 going around for a while, and while I get that a lot of people would rather have seen that, having a Mario Kart game with 96 tracks by the end of 2023 is going to feel absolutely amazing. This game is going to be the biggest Mario Kart game that we may have for a long time. So honestly, get the 43 plus million install base and growing to pay more for DLC, and you've got yourself a lot of money there. And finally, the last reveal of the Direct was Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm not a huge Xenoblade guy. I love the games. I just don't really follow too much of the lore, so I don't entirely know. I know it's like the one clan versus like the people in two, so I think this is going to be really exciting. Comes out in September. I know there was a lot of rumors last year about Xenoblade potentially being ready for a release last holiday, but of course COVID pushed everything back, so it looks like those were true. Looks like Melia and Mia are back, so very excited to see how that comes out. I will absolutely be picking that up day one. But yeah, that's basically it for the Nintendo Direct. I also do want to hop in on the reveal of the new Pokemon generation, Scarlet and Violet. I did not expect to see Gen 9 coming out this year, given we just got Arceus nearly 2 months ago. I would have thought this would have been like a placeholder to give Game Freak more time to make a new, bigger generation, but looks like they've been working hard on this game. It looks very, very polished. Well, clean. I don't know about polished just yet. Obviously, it's got another 7-8 months longer in development, but it looks exciting. I did not expect to see him this soon. I believe the region's in Spain, so I'm sure there's a lot of stuff they can do with that. The starters are really cute, but I don't know much about Pokemon either, as anyone who's watched me in any of our Pokemon topics knows. I don't get it. Okay, is there anything else I want to talk about? No, I think that's it. Alright. I'm sorry again that I did not make it to the episode. I hope Slime and Derrick had a great time discussing the Nintendo Directs, but scheduling conflicts happen sometimes, and I will be back next month. Alright, see you guys later.